Okay, this should be at least your second or third time you've seen this screen, and more importantly, well, this screen is not where this screen needs to be for you to change your settings. So go to MB Intelligent Tweaker MIT, which is the only overclocking utility that you'll ever need for this motherboard. Very straightforward, and 3.5 gigahertz is very simple. Okay. Advanced clock calibrations, I did not touch that. It probably does not help, since this overclock is probably limited by the memory clock, the speed of the RAM, which is 800 instead of a $20 upgrade, which would have been 1066, and it really wouldn't have made too much difference in a performance standpoint. But if you do want to find the top end of your CPU and neglect memory clock, that is also possible, and I'll show you how in just a minute. Alright, CPU clock ratio, leave at auto. CPU north bridge frequency, leave at auto. CPU host clock control, leave at, not at auto, go to manual for CPU host clock control. CPU frequency from 250 to a very stable 250, which gives you the 3.5 gigahertz. PCIe clock, you can change that to 100, but it should automatically be at 100 no matter what you do. Okay, set memory clock 1000 will not do for us right now since we don't have the RAM for it, but set to 3.33, which is a slight overclock on the 800 megahertz RAM, which is what we are using. Memory clock set to 833. If you want to test the CPU and neglect the memory, you can change to 266 and incrementally up the CPU frequencies along with system voltage controls. For right now, I'll set this back to 3.33, which will give us a stable 833 megahertz. Okay, system voltage control, I've only found one set of working numbers. I haven't tried to overclock this any faster than 3.5, which I don't think is needed at all. So system voltage control, I set that to manual. I just add 0.1 to most of these numbers, since this RAM is good from 1.8 to 1.9, that's what it says on the label. And I picked this RAM for a reason, not the more expensive ones, because this motherboard only supports up to 2.1, and some motherboards or some RAM defaults at the very minimum of 2.1. So set it up 0.1, which gives us its high-end limit, or not exactly the high-end limit, but the high-end recommended limit. I wouldn't doubt that this RAM would run perfectly at 2.0 or 2.1. But for right now, with just the 833 on the RAM, we'll just add 0.1 volts to the RAM. North bridge volt control, I set that to 0.1. South bridge 0.1. These numbers work. I haven't tried any higher because these numbers work. It's been able to be stress tested for at least 16 hours with these very easy to achieve and very safe for the computer overvolts. CPU north bridge vid control, I think I set this up to 0.05, but if it gives you any trouble, set it to 0.10. I'll leave it at 0.225. CPU voltage control up that 0.050, which leaves it at 1.425. And that's that for overclocking the card or your CPU to 3.5, and that's that. And if you need any more help, don't hesitate to ask. Don't not hesitate to ask. Alrighty.